Hi everyone, my name's Christina. Welcome back to my kitchen. And today we are making spaghetti and meatballs with a homemade tomato and basil marinara sauce. This recipe is so delicious and actually really easy to make. It's only been a couple of days since I made this video, and I'm already planning out the next time I can have this for dinner again. You'll start off by dicing up 1/3 of a French or Italian baguette. You could also use regular white sandwich bread, but I prefer this selection so I can use the other half for some fresh garlic bread. Then place in a large mixing bowl and cover with about 1 cup of milk. Next, let this sit for about 5 minutes to soak all of the moisture into the bread. In the meantime, here's my puppy Nova. She's actually the official executive sous chef here at Christina Cooks, so make sure you leave a like on this video and comment below if you think she killed this recipe. Next, you'll add 1 pound of ground beef and 1 pound of mild Italian sausage. Add in 1 egg and 4 cloves of minced garlic, a 1/4 cup of freshly grated Parmesan and ricotta cheese, a handful of fresh parsley. Next, I tried to be creative and use this potato masher for my meatballs, but it didn't work, so just use your hands and mix for maybe about 30 seconds to make sure everything is really well incorporated. Next, season your meatballs with about 1 teaspoon each of salt, pepper, garlic powder, minced onion, and oregano. This should go without saying, but make sure you wash your hands after you touch any type of raw meat because you don't want to spread germs and get you or anyone else trying your recipe sick. Next, you're going to mix in all of the seasonings again for about 30 seconds. Wash your hands again, then set up your station for rolling the meatballs. You'll want to get a separate plate or dish with about 1 to 2 cups of flour. Then begin to roll the meat into 1 to 2 inch balls depending on what you like, then lightly coat in flour and set aside on a separate plate. I definitely recommend rolling them in flour because this tends to hold the meatball together a little bit better and give it a nice brown color when you're cooking it in the next step. Next, continue this process until you're done rolling out all of the meatballs. This recipe yields about 22 1-inch meatballs. Tonight it was just my boyfriend and I eating, so I only made about 12 meatballs, which was more than enough, and I preserved the rest of the meatballs in the freezer for another time. Next, you're going to pour about a 1/4 cup of olive oil in a Dutch oven or a heavy bottomed pan. It's important to use this type of pan because it distributes the heat evenly and will give you a more thorough cook throughout. Next, place all of your meatballs into the pan, making sure not to crowd them. Sear for about 3 to 4 minutes on one side. At this point, I was starving and I can smell the delicious meatballs cooking, so I couldn't resist a little happy dance knowing that my food would be here shortly. After 3 to 4 minutes, you'll want to carefully rotate the meatballs to the other side so they can also get that nice brown flavor and color. The key here is to leave it alone and not to move it around too much so you get that nice good sear. At this point, my house smells like a 5-star Italian restaurant, so much so that my roommate had to come upstairs and check on our progress. Next, you're going to want to remove the meatballs and set them aside on a plate so we can begin working on our marinara sauce. In the same pot, add in 1 diced white onion and let that cook for about 5 minutes before adding in a couple cloves of garlic. Next, take 56 ounces of canned tomatoes and add them directly to the onion and garlic. Mix that up and add in 2 to 3 stems of basil, making sure everything is very well incorporated. Now, this next step is optional, but I'm actually really happy with how it turned out. Use an immersion blender to blend up all of the sauce components until it's nice and smooth. If you don't have an immersion blender, they're only 20 bucks on Amazon, and I swear they have elevated so many recipes for me. Next, we will season our sauce with salt, pepper, garlic powder, minced onion, and oregano. I would start with about half a teaspoon of each, and you can always add more if needed. Next, add all of your meatballs back into the sauce, making sure that they are fully covered, and we'll let these continue to cook for about 30 minutes on low heat. While that was cooking, I started working on my pasta, so you just bring 1 pot of water to a boil and add a ton of sea salt. I used this gluten-free spaghetti, but honestly, I wasn't impressed, so I do not recommend. Then cook as according to the package instructions, then strain out the water, and you don't need pasta water for this recipe. And that's pretty much it. This recipe is so delicious, yet so easy to make. It's truly better than most restaurants. And the best part about the meatballs is that you can make some and save some in the freezer for another time, which is probably what I'm going to be eating this weekend. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching my video. Make sure to subscribe and give it a like if you enjoyed. Also, comment below if you try out this recipe and if you have any suggestions for what I should make next week. Thank you so much again, and I hope you have an amazing week.